Halo guys, bersama saya lagi dalam ORAITNOPO channel terkini dan update perkembangan yang sedang dilakukan oleh Perdana Menteri kita sebentar tadi di New York, Amerika Serikat. Ramai yang mengatakan, khususnya daripada pembangkang mengatakan apalah gunanya terbang ke sana ke sini katanya. Hanya untuk mencari glamour, popular dan sebagainya. Tapi sahabat semua, apa yang saya nampak, pandangan saya sendiri, apa yang sedang dilakukan oleh Datuk Seri Anwar hari ini adalah untuk meyakinkan pelabur-pelabur negara-negara asing, negara-negara Islam yang lain untuk datang melabur ke dalam negara kita. Inilah usaha yang sedang dilakukan oleh Perdana Menteri kita. Dan yang terkini adalah satu sesi Majlis Makan Malam bersama dengan Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, sesi soal jawab bersama diaspora dan juga pelajar-pelajar Malaysia yang kini berada di New York, Amerika Serikat. Jadi menarik untuk kita tonton mises dan juga soal jawab bersama dengan Perdana Menteri kita yang berlaku sebentar tadi. Jadi mari kita tonton bersama video ini.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. Alhamdulillah. Nahmadu wa nusalli ala rasulil karim. Rakan-rakan menteri, saudara Duta Besar, saudara Nazri, sahabat lama, ramai tetamu yang bersama di sini, ada Gubernur Bank Negara, ada KSU, Kementerian Luar Negeri, pengurusi Suruhanjaya Security, ramai. Dan saya harap dapat dimanfaatkan dalam perbincangan di meja-meja berkenaan. Bagi pihak rakan-rakan menteri dan perwakilan yang hadir, saya ucap terima kasih kepada Datuk Kuasa Diaspora yang menganjurkan majlis yang permai dan mengajak anak-anak muda, mahasiswa, mahasiswi untuk bersama dengan kita. Di setiap program yang kita adakan di luar negara, kita pastikan ada pertemuan untuk menjelaskan dasar negara dan masalah perkembangan mutakhir di negara. So may I express my profound gratitude and thanks to the organizers, other the embassy, under my friend Nazri, and the various organizations for the splendid arrangements and inviting us all, including our students. Now, we are fortunate that the reception in New York has been very positive, partly to the effort of all our government agencies, embassy, and the mission. So let me begin by expressing my appreciation and thanks to the embassy, the mission, and all the friends who has helped make this visit a great success. This is essential. You see, throughout history and in all societies, you would appreciate one pertinent point, that civilizations can rise, civilizations can fall. The noted Muslim sociologist Abdurrahman Ibn Khaldun wrote in his Muqaddimah, the nomadic society becomes quite sedentary in a city-state, Madinah. With the esprit de corps working together, they can rise, build a new culture, establish a modern society with certain ideals to improve the welfare of the society. This idealism has helped forge this new nation. But sometimes after generations, leaders tend to be complacent, corrupt, abuse their power, and you can see a decline in this civilization after the third, fourth generation. The noted American historian Arnold Toynbee used this thesis and talked about a cyclical theory of civilization. Civilizations can rise, civilization can fall. It will rise because of the ideals, the policies that can generate growth, equity, justice. A society based on principles and values. Let us take the case of the United States of America. One is familiar with Alexis de Tocqueville, a noted French philosopher who visited America in the early period. He wrote a wonderful, should I say, a compelling case to defend the fabric of the original fabric of the American society. His book entitled Democracy in America. Now, Alexis de Tocqueville's thesis essentially say that the origins of the new American state is based on strong core values of freedom, of justice, of independence. And it stems from a clear conviction that is stemming from the habits of the heart. It's important. The habits of the heart. The habits of the heart of the society. They cherish freedom. That give meaning to the state through good values. Meaning of justice. That's why in the early period, you find this society wanting independence from the colonial British and emerge as a cohesive force. Why? Through the habits of the heart. They want freedom. They cherish justice. They want the state to survive as a new nation, a successful nation. But according to Arnold Toynbee, not necessarily about the United States, but societies in general and nations in general can rise because of these ideals, but may fall because of poor governance, corruption, abuse of power, and lackadaisical attitude, particularly among leaders. So you must remember that Malaysia is not necessarily a state, a nation that will continue to survive and excel if we do not take note of the observation by people like Ibn Khaldun or Arnold Toynbee in the United States, the historian. Now, we have come to a stage in Malaysia. If you in New York, you in the States, who have been here for 40 years, 20 years, 10 years, will realize there was a period that people accord respect and confidence to this new emerging country named Malaysia. Then there was a period that Malaysia was known to be a corrupt nation, a nation with leaders who squandered wealth. That's the perception. May be right, maybe partly right, may be true, may not be true, but the perception was pervasive among fund managers, investors, potential investors in this country. Notwithstanding what they say, I would suggest this. We together, we Malaysians, be it those living in Malaysia or here, the diaspora, must realize, must seize this opportunity. Let us begin anew. Let us prove that Malaysia can succeed. And my dream, and so is my team, is to prove a point that we, Malaysians, Malays, Chinese, Indians, Sabahan, Sarawakians, regardless, have that determination that we will emerge as a strong nation in the region. But we must start with this clear position. Enough of racism, enough of corruption, enough of religious bigotry. We want more unity, more work, and clarity of purpose. So I would say, Alhamdulillah, we are stable. This government, the unity government, inshallah, will continue for the next 4.5 years, steady, resolute, clarity of policies. And thanks to my colleagues, after the initial, should I say, not necessarily turbulence, initial tensions, now, September, in the spirit of Independence, National Day, and to abuse, not to insult other people's religions, not to burn their sacred books. That's not what freedom is all about. So, we have created a series of policies. The Madani economy, the energy transition plan, and the industrial master plan, where they say, well, another plan. No. Energy transition plan is a new plan with a base and hub in Malaysia, with renewable energy, with a commitment to green technology, which is unique. The industrial master plan is not a rehash of the old plan. It's a departure from the old plan. It focuses on specific missions and new thrust. And last week, we approved the midterm review of the 12th Malaysia plan. It's not just an ordinary review of the old plan. It's a shift of emphasis, shift of policy, a shift of direction, taking into account of the new government's policy of good governance, democratic accountability, and wanting to move Malaysia as a vibrant economy, successful nation, economically, socially, educationally. Next month, I will introduce the second Madani budget. Malaysia, my dear friends, is a trading nation. If we succeed in promoting investments and ensuring there's more trade, then we succeed as a nation. This is where you have a role. We want every single Malaysian in the United States be treated and consider themselves ambassadors of Malaysia in the United States. You represent the new Malaysian spirit. You represent a Malaysian committed to our ideals. You represent a Malaysia that wants the country to succeed. And you should do whatever is necessary to encourage your colleagues, Malaysians and Americans, to understand, know Malaysia, appreciate what we want to do, and increase trade and investments into Malaysia. That is your mission. Why I'm here tonight is to appeal to you. Of course, the chief ambassador is here, but the rest are all our ambassadors of goodwill, focusing on trade and investments. You know the reason? The reason is pure and simple. Malaysia has this enormous potential to rise. Malaysia has the necessary resources, qualified workforce, and a strong fundamentals in terms of the economy. And our dream, my dream, and your dream is to make sure Malaysia rise again. And I, from the bottom of my heart, other than expressing my profound thanks and appreciation, would say this, that I have full trust and confidence in Malaysians. Although some of you say, I have been here in the United States for the last 40 years. Some say 20 years. But you are truly a Malaysian who loves the country and wants the country to succeed. Jadi, kalau ada soalan-soalan yang susah, Menteri jawab. Soalan yang umum, Perdana Menteri jawab. Terima kasih.
So, hello. All right. Thank you so much for such a wonderful speech. It's very inspiring, and there's a lot of words of wisdom there. But I think for diasporas and students alike, we need to learn how to be good ambassadors. We need to be proud that we are actually Malaysians. Be proud that we are promoting the good values of Malaysia as opposed to always talk bad about our own country. Unless you change the mentality, you would not be able to actually embrace the spirit of Malaysia and Madani. So going to our Q&A sessions, I see there's a lot of excited students here raising up their hands. So, so the rule here is kindly, so there will be two mics, one over there and one over here. And so in the interest of time, please clearly state your name, where you're from, and make your question as concise as possible so that we can give more chance to other people to explain. So that gentleman over there.
Testing. Right. Good evening, Datuk Seri. My name is Kevin. I am originally from Klang, Selangor, and I'm a Khazanah Scholar pursuing Masters of Public Administration and Public Policy here at NYU. My question for you is, how do you think the public service in Malaysia can attract top talents so that public service can thrive, especially within the Ministry of Education, so that our education system can transform to excel and soar to great heights? Thank you.
Well, thank you. How do you attract the top talents to the public service? What we have embarked upon now is committee headed by the Chief Secretary to recommend some measures to reform in the public service. And the Ministry of Education, for example, have announced that we will recognize those with postgraduate degrees. Because thus far, if you have masters or PhD, you teach in the secondary school, you are treated like any other graduate. So you don't actually attract talents. And secondly, the promotion process has always been bureaucratic and traditional. We do not actually identify the best to be given, to be entrusted with responsibility. Inshallah, we will try to make these adjustments. I'll be waiting for the recommendations by the team assigned to do this. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Datuk Seri.
All right. So to follow up on that, Malaysia, one of the goalposts under this new national policy framework is that Malaysia strives to actually hit the top 25 in Human Development Index. So that's I'm looking forward to see more and more improvements and more new policies being implemented to achieve that. So that gentleman right over there, you may have.
Good evening, Datuk Seri Anwar. Good to see you again. The last time I saw you in person was 9 years ago at, when a group of us met you at a small cafe in Chinatown. You might recall that. And you were talking about your plans for Malaysia and what you would do if you were Prime Minister. So 9 years later, here you are, resolutely forging ahead with your plans. So kudos to you, dude. So my question to you is relating to the arts. Right now, the arts and culture is embedded within the tourism ministry. So I was wondering if, given the fact that Malaysian artists are coming to their own in all ways, you know, I guess the highlight for the year was Michelle Yeoh winning the Oscar, and then we've got Malaysian films, theater, music, going all over the world, being our ambassadors in many different ways. So I was wondering if you have your government has any plans for decoupling arts and culture from the tourism ministry into a ministry of its own, and this way it will help with funding, endorsements, scholarships, and so forth.
Thank you. You know, in the late 90s, when I wrote the Asian Renaissance, I made very clear that a country needs to grow economically. The economy remains the fundamental thrust of any government to succeed. But I did make specific reference. We actually mean by Renaissance is empowerment. Empowerment, economic empowerment for sure, but also social and cultural empowerment. So I think what you have suggested is consistent with our views in terms of Renaissance and Madani. Now, whether we should focus it under the MOTEC, Ministry of Tourism and Arts, or a separate one is, to me, not the issue. The issue is whether arts and culture should be an element, a focus where it has to be empowered further. I mean, through other effort and mission. I did discuss this with Michelle Yeoh when she came to see me and showed the award, the Oscar. You know, we grew up looking at the Oscar. Suddenly here I was holding the Oscar. It was quite an experience. You see, Michelle is a classic example. She won the Oscar, and in the speech mentioned Ipoh and Malaysia. Can you imagine?
Yeah, right.
Yes. So I think I do share, but probably you are right. We'll have to give further consideration to this issue. How do we empower the arts and culture beyond what's being done today? We will do it. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
so
you.
we have one question here from this gentleman.
Yang amat berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, Perdana Menteri Malaysia. Thank you for inviting us tonight. I have two specific questions. As you mentioned, we all been New York or United States for many, many years. And some of us been reached the retirement age, which means that we have knowledge, we have skill, we have money. So I want to ask, what measure is Malaysia taking? What specific initiative or program to engage, which to leverage the skill and the experience of Malaysian diaspora for the benefit of the country, Malaysia? Yes. And I forgot to mention I'm from Johor, Kluang, Malaysia. That's my first question. My second question is, Datuk Seri, can you share insight in the progress and the challenges of the political reforms in Malaysia, including efforts to enhance democratic governance, and the rule of laws. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, the Minister Saifuddin mentioned the effort to facilitate approvals for the status of those who encounter problems in terms of the permits or residence back into Malaysia, which can be done. But I think your question refers to engaging through some of our other agencies. MITI is one, or higher education, or even Ministry of Economy, to try and engage to make sure those who can contribute, encouraged to be back home, and to place them in the specific areas of competence that they can further contribute. I'm sure this can be done. It's ongoing, but certainly it's new, and we should, as you know, we are now encountering a problem. In the last many years, a brain drain. The top scholars, the top economists, the top accountants are leaving or left. So now we have to make sure that we have a system that could encourage them to come back with the right incentive. Now, the second question, the challenge of political reform, yes. You know, don't ever assume that reform is easy. The elite or the civil society sometimes talk about, yes, why don't you do this, why don't you do that? But they do not consider the fact that the coterie of cliques used to corruption, used to the old way of doing business, would do whatever it takes to stifle our efforts. So that is one problem. But now that we have political stability and majority in parliament, I think we can embark forcibly. People talk about rule of law, which means the Attorney General must be professional and competent and independent. You talk about rule of law, judicial independence. Now, I've been 9 months as Prime Minister. I have not interfered in one case, either appointment or decisions of the CJ. You see, but then people are sometimes cynical. They want a judgment, a decision to prosecute or not to prosecute, to convict or not to convict, according to political whims and fancies. I cannot do that. If I say the Attorney General has the absolute discretion to charge, withdraw, or not to charge, it is his decision. Similarly, in terms of judgment, but the courts, appointment and judgments, you can check with the Chief Justice, Tun Maimun. I've been 9 months. Yes, we had discussions how to set up an academy for judges, how to ensure that training of judges is further enhanced, but I had never used my authority to influence the judgment. But the problem is, once the judgment does not satisfy a political group, immediately we've been severely criticized and condemned. So I think we will have to deal with this, and I'm confident, given some time, people will learn and appreciate the need for political reform. Thank you.
Terbaik, itu dia sahabat semua antara beberapa soalan yang sempat saya berikan untuk kita dengar bersama. Soalan yang pertama, yang terakhir tadi adalah berkaitan dengan campur tangan soalan daripada pelajar ini. Adakah benar ya ada campur tangan daripada Perdana Menteri ya berkaitan dengan DNA kepada Zahid Hamidi, dan seringkali ya Datuk Seri memberikan jawapan bahawa beliau tidak pernah campur tangan dan memberikan sepenuhnya keputusan itu kepada Peguam Negara, pendakwa raya maupun ya kepada mahkamah yang memberikan DNA kepada Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. Tapi kita tahu pembangkang seringkali memainkan isu ini seperti mana yang berlaku dalam Dewan Rakyat, kekecohan berlaku, ya, kebiadaban daripada pembangkang sehingga keluar dewan karena tidak dapat menerima hakikatnya bahawa mereka cuma memainkan isu itu dan menuduh Perdana Menteri kita Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim terlibat kononnya, ya, untuk melepaskan Zaid Hamidi. Semuanya itu hanya fitnah, semuanya sudah terjawab sama-sama. Jadi terima kasih terbaik daripada Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim dengan jawapan yang padu, soalan-soalan daripada pelajar-pelajar yang bijaksana, ya, di Amerika Serikat New York ini. Jadi terima kasih, sampai di sini saja. Sekiranya Anda mau berikan sebarang komen, Anda boleh berikan komen dalam ruangan komen, tapi ingat, komen dengan cara berhemah. Jangan menjadi seperti walon-walontit, lebay-lebay dan juga geng sapu bersih, ya, apabila memberikan komen penuh dengan hasutan, kebencian dan juga fitnah melampau. Sepertinya mereka tidak punya otak, mungkin karena otak mereka tertinggal di dasar Laut Cina Selatan. Jadi terima kasih, sampai di sini saja. Izinkan saya untuk mengundurkan diri, dan seperti biasa peribahasa mengatakan tapapun kangkap 2 ton keinginan. Dalam bahasa Melayunya, tepuk dada, tanya selera. Sekian saja daripada ORAITNOPO Channel. Saya kita berjumpa lagi. Bye-bye.